Hello and welcome back. This is Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana, and you are watching Marksman TV. Today we have another comparison lined up for you. We will be looking at the Savage MSR-15 Patrol model and the Springfield Saint. We've already done a video on the Saint comparing it to the Ruger AR556 and the Smith & Wesson M&P15 Sport 2. If you want to take a look at that video, I will leave a link in the description. Also at the end of this video, I'll leave a link to it so you can go check that out. If you've already seen that video, we're going to go over a lot of things in this video that we already covered in that one, but still good when looking at comparing these two. I think these two rifles compare to each other very well. They're both at the same price point at about $800, and we'll take a look at a side-by-side comparison moving from the barrel all the way to the back end of the rifle. Anyway, stick with us, and that's going to come up right now. Alright, starting off with the packaging, the MSR does come in a Savage cardboard box. Inside, I already have the rifle taken out, but you do it's in a plastic sleeve. You do get a chamber flag. And then under here, we do have our magazine and instruction documentation and all that sort of stuff. The Saint does come in a hard case here. I'll go ahead and open this up for you. And flip it around. Here we do have the rifle, PMAG, chamber flag, warranty and instruction information, a lubricant test sample, and your gun safety lock. Alright, getting into the general overview here, starting up here with the MSR, it does weigh in at 6.5 pounds. It does have a collapsed overall length of 32.5 inches, and with the stock fully extended, it is 35.75 inches. Moving down to the Saint, it is an overall weight of 6 pounds 11 ounces. With the stock fully collapsed, it is 32.25 inches, and with the stock fully extended like we see here, it is 35.5 inches. Moving down into the barrels, both have a 16-inch barrel. Technically the MSR is 16 1/8 inches in length, and the Saint is 16 inches per their websites. The Saint is a chromoly vanadium, and it is melanite treated, and it does have a 1 8 twist. The MSR by Savage also has a 1 8 twist, and it is also melanite treated, and it does use 5R rifling. 5R rifling, basically just like they use on their stealth models or their precision rifle, essentially, is keeping an odd dynamic. So there's 5 basically sets of lands and grooves, so the lands and grooves are opposite facing. This puts less pressure on the round as it travels through the barrel, which decreases bullet deformation, leading itself to better accuracy overall. Both of these do use a standard A2 birdcage flash hider, which is what you're going to find pretty standard on anything in the $800 range like these. These can be easily replaced with any other type of muzzle brake that you would like to put on there. Also, they do have standard A2 front sight bases and gas blocks. What we see here on the Saint is a more traditional A2 with your bayonet lug here. Being that this is a mid-length gas tube system, and we'll get into that in a minute, you can actually run a bayonet on here. When you have a traditional carbine length gas system with a 16-inch barrel, the muzzle device is too far away from the bayonet lug to actually properly fit the bayonet on there. Just a little added note there for you. The MSR does have a proprietary gas block that is incorporated from Savage. We'll get this to focus here real quick. It is a little bit slimmer in profile, and it has a really nice height to it. Pretty simple, being that the handguard basically covers the bottom of the sight base. You cannot mount a bayonet, there's no bayonet lug. That's not really a huge deal for most people though. The front sight base on both is elevation adjustable. You will need an AR15 tool, but they both adjust the exact same way, just like any other A2 sight base. As we mentioned, both of these do use a mid-length handguard and gas tube system. They are both direct gas impingement. The advantages of mid-length is it does help to reduce felt recoil overall. In something like a 5.56 223, that's not technically a huge issue with a lot of people, but you can get a little bit of that recoil reduction. I did do a shooting comparison video with the Saint compared to other carbine length rifles like the AR556 by Ruger and the M&P15 Sport 2. There was a little bit of a noticeable difference in recoil. Again, it wasn't huge, and you can watch that video and pretty much notice that as I'm shooting on the bench. The other advantage, of course, of having a mid-length gas tube is you do have a shorter length that extends beyond the gas block, the front sight base, out forward of the rifle. And it also, of course, gives you more area, more real estate, essentially, where you can load things onto your front hand grip, or give you some more place and some room to adjust to move your length of pull, for example. The handguard on the MSR Patrol is a polymer construction, and it is made by Blackhawk. And it does use M-LOK mounting points here. The Springfield Saint does use the Bravo Company PKMT mid-length handguard, and it does use key mod mounting points here on the top and as well as here on the bottom. Both of these handguards do offer heat shielding, which is a really good offering on both, and they both have a very, very nice lightweight and slim profile. Getting into the receivers, we do have the MSR here on my left, that would be your right, and we do have the Springfield Saint here. Both receivers are forged from 7075 T6 aircraft grade aluminum, and they are forged, of course, and that's for both the upper and the lower. They use a Type 3 hard coat anodizing in matte black. Again, that anodizing finish is very nice and usually applied on soft metal alloys, such as the receiver halves we have here. I'm a partial fan to the hard coat anodizing process. It's very durable. Essentially, these are the finishing agent is applied, and then it's dipped in an acid bath and then heated and cooled, and what it does is it creates a very, very strong bond to the metal with the finishing agent, giving a really, really strong, really durable finish. Difficult to scratch, easy to maintain, easy to clean, and very rust resistant. So it's typically what you're going to find the process on a lot of modern AR-15s, especially in that kind of $800 price range. Very effective finishing process, and of course we see it on both of these rifles. Now, getting into the trigger, the Springfield Saint does use a nickel boron coated trigger, which is a nice coating process, which gives a very, very sleek and overall feel and fit within the firearm. That nickel boron will give a nice, smooth, and slick transition as the trigger interferes with the metal surfaces around it. Trigger pull weight out of the box is about 6.5 to 7 pounds, and it does have a very crisp and clean break and reset. Now, the Savage Patrol is advertised as coming with a mil-spec GI single-stage trigger. Looking at this one, it's kind of confusing to me because it does look and feel like the Blaze trigger that comes on the Recon. And I'm going to move this out of the way, and I do have a Recon here. And there is, let's get that tag out of the way, let it focus. There is the Recon trigger, the Blaze trigger inside the Recon, which has the exact same feel and look and texture to me. It's that nice polished look, whereas I believe on the Patrol model, it was a blued, or at least it was a black anodized trigger. So I'm a little bit confused about that, but it looks like the Patrol model I have here does have the Blaze trigger in it. I don't know if they're starting to ship them with that in it now, or if this is just kind of an oddity, but anyway, the trigger is really nice at about 5.5 to 6.5 pounds with a really nice break and reset. Getting back into the components on the receiver, both do come with a forward assist with a dust cover and a shell deflector here. Now, what's interesting, I looked at some other reviews, and the MSR Patrol model did not come with a forward assist. In fact, it was just some sort of plug back there as a placeholder for you to put on your own forward assist at a later time. I looked on Savage's webpage, and they do have two separate models of the Patrol. There's part number 22899, and there's also part number 22900. The 900 model is the Patrol EL, which does have the mil-spec trigger and does not have the forward assist. Now this one, part number 22899, only MSRPs at looks like $14 more. So for $14 more, you get a forward assist and an upgraded trigger. I mean, if I had the option, I would just go with this one. It's kind of a no-brainer. I don't know if they're phasing out the older models for these or what. I don't know why there's such a close price difference for such a few little minor changes. But anyway, that's there for you if you wanted to know that. Now, moving on to the sights, the Springfield Saint does use its proprietary sight, which is a low-profile flipping rear sight, and it does lock when it's in the open position. You do push a button release here on the side to flip the sight down. And it does not lock. You can just grab it and pull it up to redeploy your sights. It does have a dual aperture rear, so you have two separate apertures, and it is a 1/2 MOA windage adjustment by utilizing this knob here. And there it is in close for you to get a kind of a better look at it. There you go, and there's your second aperture there. The MSR-15 Patrol does use a Blackhawk rear flipping sight as well. I can fold it down and push a tab here on the rear to allow it to lock into place, and then I can push the tab again forward to let it flip up on its own. It is windage adjustable, not nearly as nice as a sight as this. This is clearly a backup sight for running any other type of optic, but you do have the sight there. It actually does a good job of staying low profile and out of the way if you're running an optic on there. If you don't want to run an optic, you might consider upgrading your sights. But a lot of other rifles that do come in this price range come without sights at all, so at least you do get those. And there it is for you. That's the sight, single aperture, very simple, does fold down to lock. There's the locking tab right here. So if I push that down, I can push that tab in to hold it locked, and then I can push that tab forward to deploy the sight. Moving down into the grip, the Saint does use a Bravo company grip, which is very nice and ergonomic. I love the feel of this. On the bottom, you do have a storage compartment that can open up. If you want to store anything in there at all, you can do that. Grab these two tabs, push. It's a little stiff, and pull open. And there you go. It also gives you access to your screw there. You can take out your grip and replace it for anything else. The Savage MSR-15 Patrol does use a Blackhawk grip. It does have a very nice larger palm swell here. Again, very comfortable and ergonomic. There is no storage compartment on the bottom, which is okay. Most people don't use them anyway. If you want to store your batteries, you might consider switching out to a different grip. Or I think that they do make ready-made floor plates that you can attach on there. I'm not too sure about that though. But anyway, you can always switch that out if you don't like it. But again, a very nice option also for the MSR. Now getting into the buttstocks, both of these use a carbine length mil-spec buffer tube. And they both come with an M4 style stock. Now they each have their own characteristics. Starting up here with the MSR Patrol, we do have a Blackhawk Axiom 6-position stock. Actually really nice and comfortable. You do have nice texturing here on the rear for gripping onto your shoulder or clothing. By gripping this here, I can push and collapse to its 6 positions. The Springfield Saint does use the Bravo company 6-position collapsible stock. It does have a very, very nice tight tension here on the release lever, which you can pull in and collapse to its separate positions. It is very, very tight and stiff right out of the box, as you can see. Anyway, but that is actually really nice. It keeps a very solid and rigid feel, virtually no movement at all. Actually a really nice stock. Plenty of space up here on the top round of the stock too for your cheek weld. You will notice QD attachment points back here on both sides as well for a sling. Now finally, let's take a look at the bolt carrier groups. Both of these, I actually can't really tell the difference between the two just by looking at them, other than the Springfield Armory logo located right here on the side. Which, by the way, you will see that logo through the ejection port cover, which is a nice little touch. Both of these are M16 bolt carrier groups, which do mean they are a little bit longer and heavier than your traditional AR15 commercial bolt carrier groups. Both do come with staked gas keys, and both are chrome magnet particle inspected, which is a very nice test to determine if there's any microscopic imperfections in any of the components in the metal. That is a mil-spec testing process, so it's nice that both of these are done that way. The Springfield bolt carrier group is made from 158 Carpenter steel. I'm not 100% sure on the construction of the Savage bolt carrier group. Also, the Springfield is a chrome-plated bolt carrier group, leading to a little bit of better transition through the receiver and a little bit of better chrome resistance. Again, I couldn't find that information on the Savage MSR. I imagine it's most likely a similar process. Both of these are very comparable bolts, and I'm sure that they would interchange and work just as well moved over to each other's host rifle. Now, if you do like the MSR-15 option, you can always go down with the Recon, which does have a M-LOK free-floating forward handguard, as well as quick deploy front and rear sights. So this is really a good option if you want to go with that front sight base without that fixed front sight base gas block. If you're going to run a scope on it, These are going to run on average about $200 more than this. Now the Springfield Saint does not currently have a free floated option. It also does not have an option where you're not going to get that fixed gas block and front side arrangement. So it is nice on the MSR-15 series. You do have that upgraded option if you want it. Otherwise, if you want to stay down in that $800 ballpark price range, the Patrol is really everything you need to get into that. Well, that's all we have for you today on these. If you enjoyed that, please consider hitting that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down in the comments section. We do our best to read those and get back to you on those. Anyway, this is Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana. You are watching Marksman TV. We will see you next time.